Hey everybody, Sean Hatsley here, the owner of Get Lean in 12 and Stubborn Fat Expert for people over 35 years old. And I am going live here on Facebook to speak directly to every woman out there who is over 35 years old. So if you're a female in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, stop by and say hi and pay close attention if you want to lose stubborn body fat. Because inside this video, I'm going to share the 3 biggest mistakes women over 40 make when trying to lose belly fat. Now, you might be thinking, why in the world would I want to listen to a 46-year-old man how can he understand my problems or relate? And I want to share with you that I can, because I've been doing this for over 20 years and I've been married to my BE8 youthful wife, Karen, who is 11 years older than me. She's 57 years old. And I'm going to share her inspiring story inside this video. Here's a picture of her and I together. This was just taken on June 30th. And it was actually her cancer journey that led to the creation of this story, because it forced her into early menopause and it taught us how to help her reactivate her declining hormones and quickly lose belly fat and lose 18 pounds in 10 weeks using our 12-minute metabolic protocols found inside our weight loss system called the Over 40 Absolution. So somewhere on this video, you're gonna see a link to click or tap where you can go over to our website. You can read all about Karen's inspiring story, and I'll share more about it at the end of this video. And you can grab a copy of our system with a 90-day money-back guarantee. But don't go over there yet, because I have a ton of great content I want to share, and it's important that you understand these mistakes. If you're over 35 years old and you're a woman who's struggling to lose fat, this video could change your life in ways you've never imagined. So the first thing you'll see is these 3 mistakes. I provide 3 solutions. I'm going to talk a little bit about creating synergy in your diet. And I'm going to talk about how our Hormone Optimization Diet Manual works and how we use it to simplify fat loss. So the first mistake women over 40 make is they focus too much on sit-ups, crunches, and ab routines. Now, there's nothing wrong with a well-rounded and thought-out ab routine. However, if you're crunching away trying to lose belly fat, you're really just working the muscle that's underneath the fat that needs to be burned off. So in reality, if you do too many crunches and sit-ups, over time, the muscles underneath the fat are going to start growing. So it could actually push the belly out a little bit more. Not to mention that Men's Health published an article talking about how it took 22,000 crunches, 22,000, just to burn 1 measly pound of fat. And then Dr. Stuart McGill, who is the world's most renowned back expert, talks about repeated flexion of the spine using crunches and sit-ups is one of the leading causes of herniated disc. So stop doing crunches and sit-ups if you want to lose body fat, and start using our 12-minute metabolic zone training techniques. It's a 12-minute metabolic protocol that's using specific movement patterns, specific intensity levels, and specific rest periods that are designed for the hormonal condition of women in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. And when this 12-minute metabolic protocol is done properly, it can actually elevate the metabolic rate for up to 48 hours afterwards. And I'll post all the studies that I make claims about in this video. I'll post the studies below in the comments. So any claims that I make will be substantiated 100%. So research shows this 12-minute metabolic protocol creates what we call EPOC, or the afterburn. EPOC stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And after these 12-minute metabolic protocols, the metabolic rate can be elevated for 38 to 48 hours. And they also have been shown to increase growth hormone 400 all the way up to 700%. And over at our website, you'll see over 35 reference studies backing up any claims that I make. So stop doing sit-ups and crunches. Start using our 12-minute metabolic movement patterns, and stop doing too much cardio. This is the second biggest mistake women over 40 make. Excessive amounts of cardio wreak havoc on the metabolism. So over at our website, you'll see that I reference 4 published studies showing how too much cardio wreaks havoc on the metabolism. The first study shows that it suppresses the thyroid gland. Many people consider this the master gland of the metabolism. And too much cardio suppresses T4 to T3 conversion. The second study shows too much cardio increases cortisol, which is known as a stress hormone that we want to avoid. A third study shows that it increases hunger. So people who do too much cardio eat 100 more calories afterwards than they just burned off on average. And then the fourth study shows too much cardio releases free radicals. Now these are the same free radicals that are responsible and linked to many of today's modern health challenges, and they can actually age the body faster. So instead of doing too much cardio, you want to engage in our 12-minute metabolic movement patterns like I discussed and use some body weight movements. This is very important. Most women out there are afraid of lifting weights, but body weight movements, you don't have to worry about. It creates lean, sculpted, toned muscles. See, if all you do is cardio and eat right and you try to lose a bunch of body fat, and you're an apple or a pear-shaped body, when you're done, you're just going to be a smaller apple or pear-shaped body. So you need to use these body weight movements to transform the way that you look so that when you lose the body fat, you have something lean, toned, and sculpted and sexy to show for it. The third mistake women over 40 make when trying to lose body fat is avoiding carbs. I know this sounds hard to believe, but carbs don't necessarily make you fat. Now, yes, low-carb diets work. We know this, especially if you're sedentary and you're not using our 12-minute protocols. Low-carb diets work. But over time, in as little as 7 days, they can suppress leptin levels. Now, the Biggest Loser study is the perfect example. New York Times published an article referencing a study that was done on season 8 contestants of the Biggest Loser contest. And a few years later, all of them had gained all or more of their weight back. And research shows their leptin levels plummeted dramatically. Leptin is the hormone that communicates to the brain and to the body whether or not you're going to burn fat for fuel or whether or not you're going to store fat. So it's very important to understand that they also had metabolic slowdown. So each one of these contestants is now burning 400 to 800 calories less on a daily basis because excessive amounts of cardio, excessive traditional exercise, excessive calorie cutting, and excessive cutting of carbs slows down the metabolic rate and suppresses the critical hormones that can help us lose more body fat. So instead, make sure that you time your carbs the right way, you combine them the right way, and you consume them in what I call the magic metabolic window. So after our 12-minute metabolic protocols, the muscles are kind of like a sponge that's been wrung dry and it wants to suck up nutrients. So this is the perfect time for you to gorge on some of your favorite carbs. About 3-4 days of the week, post-workout, after these 12-minute metabolic protocols, you can get away with eating lots of carbs, and what it will do is several things. The first thing that it will do, because those muscles are depleted and like a sponge that's been wrung dry, they're gonna suck those nutrients right up. So that glucose from those carbs is gonna be replenishing muscle and liver glycogen so it won't spill over and be stored as fat. You just have to make sure that you combine your carb with a protein and a fibrous vegetable. By doing this, it'll help stabilize insulin levels, and that will help keep the body in a fat-burning environment. So don't worry about avoiding carbs. You just have to strategically eat them the right way, and we show you exactly how to do this step-by-step inside our diet manual. So now that you understand the 3 biggest mistakes and you understand the 3 solutions to losing belly fat if you're a woman over 40 years old, I want to talk about synergy and why I created this system, because it is all about my wife and what happened to her that led to the creation of this system. So I want you to understand that it's not diet by itself that's going to help you lose body fat. It's not doing cardio or intervals or even our 12-minute metabolic protocols by themselves. It's not about weight training or doing our body weight movements by themselves. It's the synergistic effect of all 3 of these things working together that's going to help you melt off fat. Fortunately, it's not that complicated. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. You're going to have to put in 12 minutes of effort 5 days of the week, but it's only 1 hour a week. We're only asking for 1 hour a week, and then we're just asking that you follow our Hormone Optimization Diet Manual. So what ended up happening is over 11 years ago when Karen and I got married, she was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. And like I mentioned, this forced her into early menopause. This is one of the most scariest times of our life. And so we did alternative treatments, and she ended up getting mild chemo and radiation, and it forced her body into early onset menopause, and she accumulated a ton of upper belly fat. And of course, you know what comes with this. You don't like what you see when you look in the mirror, and it becomes a downward spiral that affects every area of your life. So as a husband who dearly loves his wife and wants her to be happy, and a fitness professional, I did everything in my power to try to help her. We tried all this stuff. We tried the ab routines, we tried the excessive cardio, we tried cutting the carbs. None of it worked. And so I started thinking back, way back to 1998, when I placed first runner-up grand champion in the Body for Life contest out of over 22,000 finishers. You can see right here, my picture. I was only 20 years old, my hormones were a lot different, but I was ripped. And I got thinking about, at the end of that contest, to get ready for that photo shoot, I used a 12-minute protocol that I had learned about in a private online forum from a scientist. And that's what helped me get my 6-pack abs, got rid of that last 5-10 pounds of stubborn fat. I thought, why not try this on Karen? Because I had used it for the last 10 years. You can see right here, I've used it for the last 10 years to maintain six-pack abs. So from 2008 to 2017, you can see it right here. This picture was just taken on June 30th of this year. And I thought, why not give this a shot on Karen? So here we are today, by the way. BEA for life, again. And what ended up happening is, all of a sudden, magically, 10 weeks later, she's 22 pounds lighter. But it wasn't just about the physical changes. It's about the life changes that happened to her, right? Her confidence exploded. Her self-esteem exploded. She felt better about herself. And that's really, really what it all comes down to. It's not just about physical changes to our body. It's about life changes. Karen and I both know that when we use our 12-minute metabolic protocols, our marriage is stronger, we're better parents, we're better grandparents to our 4 beautiful grandkids, we're better fitness professionals, and it leaks over and makes us better at every area of our life. So somewhere around this video, you're gonna see a link to click or tap where you can go read about Karen's story and you can learn all about our system. You're gonna see 5 digital guides. Again, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee. You can try this for 2 or 3 months straight. And if you don't get amazing results, send an email to support@getlean12.com and we'll give you all your money back. And then I also want to talk quickly about inside our Hormone Optimization Diet Manual. We simplify fat loss by just focusing on 3 simple things with your diet. 3 things, that's it. Timing, combinations of foods, and portion control of foods. If you just focus on these 3 things, you can keep the body in a fat-burning environment pretty much around the clock. You also see a success tracker, and I recommend that you focus on that. And you download that first and go through it. Once you go to your download page, you'll also see where you can register for a free 1-hour training that I'll do a webinar for you where I'll train you for free for an hour on our system. But download the Success Tracker first because it's 22 pages and it condenses everything down. The Hormone Optimization Diet and our 12-minute metabolic protocols, day by day, you'll have a sheet to follow. Just one sheet is all you need to stay on track so you're not overwhelmed with a bunch of information. Now, if you're a nerd and you want to dive in and learn a bunch of stuff, there's going to be several other guides over there that you can dive into as well. And also I want to share with you, if you're a keto or paleo person, that this is very keto and paleo friendly. We call it targeted keto because you are going to be consuming some carbs post-workout. But your body will quickly get back into a ketogenic state. Now, if you're a paleo advocate, then we're also going to give you some grocery list and food modifications that you can use so that you can follow this plan if you're a paleo follower. And then lastly, I want to talk about our partnership with Living Water International. So we're 12 minutes in. If you're still watching this, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to check this out. I know in today's day and age, time is our most precious commodity, and I'm always grateful for people who take time out of their busy day. It's very hard to get people's attention in a newsfeed on Facebook. So thank you for taking time to watch this. And then when you grab a copy of our system, we're going to donate $1 to Living Water International, and it'll give clean water to a needy child for almost 90 days. And last year, we raised almost $30,000, installed 3 water wells in needy countries. This year, we're on track to raise $50,000, and I want you to be a part of this amazing cause. But most importantly, I want you to experience not just the physical changes, but the life changes that Karen and I have experienced from following the Over 40 Absolution, our 12-minute metabolic protocols, and the Hormone Optimization Diet. So, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to check this out, and keep going strong.